Howdy y'all. Just thought I would have you guys join me for making a little dish here. I've got, let me turn my music down just a little. Okay, I've got some tomatoes from my garden. I have, these are some greens. They are the Glory Foods Southern Taste with a Soulful Heritage. That's their little catch line, but it's mixed greens. So I've taken these and I have pressed all the water out of them so that they're really dry, because I'm going to make stuffed tomatoes, and when they're cooking, the juice from the tomatoes, you don't want this to be wet. It'll be a big wet sloppy mess. So you want to be sure and press the greens out really good. If you have a piece of cheesecloth and you can like put this in some cheesecloth and really wring it out, that's even better. So we want that nice and dry. Okay, so what I'm going to do is a simple stuffed tomato. Now you can do stuffed tomatoes all kinds of ways. Oh, and let me say real quick, Kelly, I know you were asking about these knives. Okay, so I looked and they're called Forged in Fire. I don't know if you can see that. Forged in Fire. This is the 8-inch chef, and this is the 3.5-inch paring knife. And I don't know if they're a promotional item or what, but the packaging said the History Channel. But yeah, they're pretty good so far. We'll see how they hold an edge. But anyway, I'm going to take the tops off all these. This one's a little bit underripe, but we're going to go ahead and go with it. So yeah, you can have stuffed tomatoes in a variety of ways. I'm going to do the greens with a little cheese and peppers in there. But you can also do, is really nice if you do like an Italian style, and you can put a little pesto sauce down in there, and also some mozzarella and some olive oil and some Italian seasoning. Makes a great, really great stuffed tomato. So I just cut all the tops off, and then I'm going to just kind of cut the center a little bit there. I guess my music's kind of fading in and out on me, guys. Sorry about that. But yeah, I'm just gonna clean it out and get all that stuff. Like I said, it's gonna be, when it's cooking, the juice from the tomato is gonna make it really juicy, so we don't need extra juice. So I clean them out real good. Sometimes you need to help it a little with your paring knife. Sometimes it'll just scoop right out. And yeah, there's lots of things you can do with a stuffed tomato. Like you can brown some ground up sausage and brown that and put that in here, and beat up an egg and put it in here and cook this with sausage, egg, and cheese, and have a little souffle. Little breakfast souffle. Oh, that's no big knife. This one's a little bit firmer than I would normally do, but I'm going to go ahead and go with it so I can have 4. I'm making a side dish. I'm not going to cook this right now. I'm going to put it in the freezer. You know how I like to make my freezer meals. And this will be a side dish so that I can just throw this in the oven when I'm cooking something else, and it'll be ready. From frozen, it'll take about an hour, but from fresh, probably half an hour. And you know, if you're vegetarian, you could have this for a main course. You know, it's got cheese in it, but you can omit anything. You can make these any kind of way. There are lots of ways to make stuffed tomatoes that are really delicious. You can do like a Mexican one with some taco meat and rice and cheese and peppers. You can do the Italian one with the pesto and maybe a little salami and mozzarella. So yeah, there's lots of things you can do. The little breakfast one. So I'm going to cut their little bottoms off, just flat. And I'm only doing this so that they will sit in the pan and not fall over. So that's That's the reason I'm cutting their little bottoms off. And I try not to cut very much, just enough to make them sit flat, because I don't want a hole in the bottom of the tomato. Although if that happens, it's really not a big deal, because like I said, they're real juicy. So if some of the juice escapes, it's not a tragedy. So okay, I've cut all their little ends off there. And I have my tomatoes. I think this one wants to cut off just a little bit more. It's kind of got a small end. Okay. Yeah, that works. Okay, so there's our tomatoes that have been cleaned out, and the little bottoms. Okay, the bottom's cut off and we are ready to go. So I've got my strained greens here, and I'm just, oh, first, sorry, extra virgin olive oil. We're going to do a little bit of that all around on our tomatoes, just like that. And then, oh, I should have gotten this out earlier, you guys, sorry. A little bit of seasoning. This is just some little Cavender's blend. Salt and pepper's good if you're going with the mozzarella. Then the Italian seasoning's real good. So got a little oil, little seasoning. We're going to put a little of our greens down in there, just a tiny bit in the bottom, just like that. Just kind of to weight them down there in the bottom and kind of hold them down a little bit like that. Okay, so now I've got 2 mozzarella cheese sticks. These are just the little string cheese sticks. And I got 2 of them here for my 4 tomatoes. So I'll just cut these in half. Oops. Let me get those out of the way. Okay. I'll just cut these in half. Like that. And this one needs it a little bit shorter because it's a smaller tomato. I'm just going to stick them down in there. And that's going to be like our cheesy filling for our tomatoes, this little cheese stick. There we go. So now what we want to do is kind of put our greens around. Now I've tried putting the greens in there and then like making a little hole and sticking the cheese stick down in there, but it really does work better if you just go ahead and kind of put the cheese in first and work around it. Because sometimes it just is, when this stuff is kind of packy, it's hard to get your little cheese stick to stick down in there. And you know, you can use fresh greens, you can use spinach. I love to use fresh spinach and make stuffed tomatoes, or stuffed mushrooms are so good. And it's a nice little side dish to have with almost any entree. And like today, I'm doing all this kind of involved prep work here, but on the day that I serve these, all I have to do is pop them in the oven and they'll be ready to go. No problem. And these greens are already seasoned. They're southern style seasoned greens, so they have little peppers and they have they've already got salt and everything in them. And it's got recipes on the can. I suggest this product. It's a good product. I've always liked those greens. Of course, fresh is better, but I like to do these easy freezer meals just with what I have on hand. And I got these tomatoes out of the garden, and I wanted to do some cooking today and get my freezer meals built back up because I've used almost everything. All I have left is one little Mexican casserole in there. And I gave some to my son, and I've used several of them. And so I'm going to do some cooking, and I'm starting with this little side dish. And so now I'm just packing the greens around the cheese. to kind of cover it. And even if it's kind of bumped up here in the middle a little bit, that'll be okay, because as it cooks and the cheese melts, it'll sink down. So putting a little mound on top is kind of good, because by the time they're done cooking, it'll be flat. It'll flatten back out. There we go. Okay, that looks pretty good. So this is, I would say that this would serve 2, because this would be a really good side dish. You know, 2 portions, like maybe this large and small one and these 2 medium ones would make 2 really good sides. You could have this with just almost anything, even like a pasta salad or some grilled chicken or just anything. Would be a really good side dish. And then now, since I've got some leftover cheese and I don't want to waste any leftovers, I've got plenty of leftover greens here as well, but I will find something to do with that. I'm just going to put these leftover pieces of cheese all over the top, and they should get all melty and good when they cook. And I can't really show you a finished product today, because I'm not going to cook these today. These are just going to get covered and go in the freezer. But when I cook them, I will do a video. And I'm going to start doing my cooking videos in 2 parts, like the recipe and then the finished product, because I usually don't do both of them on the same day, because I love to do the freezer meals and prep and do all that stuff in advance. So I'll just do like a part 1 and a part 2 and wait and upload them both at the same time, like show them both at the same time. Because I don't have any, you know, I don't have a computer and I don't edit any of my videos or anything, so I just have to pause my camera, well, my phone, and then show it later, and I can't really do that because I have to cook it for hours, you know. So I'm just going to do 2-parters for the cooking shows. So I'll show you how to make this, and then later on when I cook it, I'll show you the end result. But that might not be for a while, because this is going right in the freezer. So let's see. I'll get my, oh yeah, I was going to put a pepper on these. Got my jalapeno peppers here. I'm going to get a few of them out. 2, 3, need 1 more. There we go. 4 just regular pickled peppers. I'm just going to put that right on top. And it will help to season and keep it from drying out, and also keep it from sticking to the foil, because now that I've completed that, I'll put just a little shake of seasoning on here. Now I've completed that, I'm just going to cover it with foil. And there's my little dish. Get my marker here. And my stuffed tomatoes. And I'm going to pop these in the freezer. And there we go. There is my quick and easy freezer side dish. Thanks for joining me. And until next time, y'all be sweet.